Welcome back to my channel, and today I have my June wrap up for you. So in the month of June I read a total of 4 books. I had 2 carryovers from May, and that's why the June TBR, 2 of the books that I actually wanted to read, I did not get to them. And I moved them to the July TBR. You can see them in the TBR video. So it was a really good reading month. I had 3 4-star books. No, 2 4-star books and 5. Come on. No, 2 4-star books and 2 5-star books. So I'm super happy with what I read in June. So the first one, which I cannot actually say much about, is History of Scotland by Neil Oliver, because as you can see, it's a history of Scotland. So I cannot really rate this and can say, okay, I don't know, it could have been better, could have been more adventurous, I don't know. I gave it 4 stars because I think the way that Neil Oliver described the history of Scotland, the ancient history, and also the leading into modern times, I think was very interesting, the way that he did it. And I never had a feeling that I wanted to put it down in a way, but it took me quite a long time to read it, because I read fiction next to it as well. So it was only like 1 or 2 chapters. Everyone has a different kind of reading style. People read multiple books at the same time. Some people, like me, only read 1 book at a time, and so this was a challenge for me, but it has nothing to do with the book in itself, which I wanted to read because this month in July I am going to Scotland, and I wanted to do my homework, so to say, to appreciate more what I will see also when I go through the Highlands, for example. So I really like this, and I can only recommend it to everyone who wants to have like a quick overview. I mean, it's still more than 400 pages, right? It's not that quick. But just an overview of everything that's important, which made the Scots, to understand the land you're standing on if you go to Scotland, and yeah, just enjoy it. I really liked it. For people who love history, this is a good pick for you. So the next carryover from May was Stacey Lee's The Downstairs Girl. So this was talked about a lot last year, and I got it in one of the picks in the beginning of the year with How Novel, and I was very surprised, like positively surprised, how much I actually liked this book. I've never heard about anything of the suffragette movement in the south of the United States in the 19th century. That was the first time that I read something. Also because she's an Asian character, our main character is Asian, and you rarely hear anything from Asian communities about in that time. You usually hear about the black and white conflict that you had at that time, and especially in the south. So we follow Jo here, who is living with her uncle underneath a print shop, like in the basement of a print shop, but the people who own the print shop don't know that. And she, in the beginning of the book, she loses her job as in the milliner's shop, and ends up as a lady's maid again, which she actually didn't want to be again. So that's the setup. She works for this very rich family, and what she also does is, by accident, she becomes like a ghostwriter, or like one of these people who write anonymously columns in the newspaper of the people that have the print shop. You know, they of course have a newspaper. So It's a bit like the Bridgerton thing, so that's what I thought. You know, you have some talking about high society or whatever, but that's not the case, because she is talking about, of course, the problems of that time, also the problems that women are facing. It's a very feminist story, and gives advice, so to say, in a very funny way. I really liked it, but I also had like criticism. First, I want to say I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, because the criticism is, I don't know whether it's a pet peeve of mine or not, but this is YA. I would have liked it to be adult historical fiction, because the way Jo was written was a very modern way. I think the author would have done it much better if Jo was either an adult or she was talking more like the people at the time. Because in the 19th century, even if you're talking about very sensitive topics, not just like in gender politics and everything that's of feminist worth, so to say, because we also have the suffragette movement here, they would have talked about it a different way. Either some topics would not have even come up, even if in a column like this, or they would just not, they would have been hushed, right? And I thought that's, although this is a good thing for younger readers who want to get into historical fiction, it's a bit misleading in a way, because I like historical fiction that's really representing the time that we are talking about. And this was not that. She was a kick-ass YA character, as you think. Of course, she had a lot of problems. This is a minority weird. She's a woman. She has to not just fight all of the prejudices as a Chinese character, so to say. She also has to face, because she is a girl, and then all the stuff that comes with women having to marry here, cannot be like, I don't know, involved in politics there, and you name it. You can imagine what's the what the problems are here in this book. So, but I really just didn't like the tone that much. It was, some things were a bit foreseeable, but it's like, it's fine. I do not want to actually talk this down. It's a really nice read. It's nice that we have, for the first time, the focus on the Asian community at that time, also about the suffragette movement. I really like that. And also the conflicts about black and white within the suffragette movement, because the white ladies didn't want to have the black ladies supporting the suffragette movement. So that's also interesting and nice to see. And I really like that the author was taking this topic, so to say. My only criticism was the tone of this book, because it's much too modern. But as I said, 4 out of 5 stars. Still very good. And now let's get to the 2 books that got 5 stars from me. And really not giving 5 stars a lot. My highest usually is 4 stars, and 5 stars is really like when I think like, wow, amazing. And I thought that about the 2 books that I read in the second half of June. The first one is Tessa Gratton's Strange Grace. I have never heard anyone talk about this book on BookTube, which is why I'm so happy that I can do it now. I just saw it because I ordered Lady Hotspur, and I also read last year The Queens of Innisleer from her, which I loved. It was one of the top 5 books that I read last year. And this one, Strange Grace, is, I think it's also based, it's not a direct retelling, at least I don't know which folklore or which legend it would be retelling in this way, but it is about a village which is called Three Graces, and which is close to the forest, and the people of the village struck a bargain with the devil of the forest, or the demon of the forest. As long as they keep the bargain, so to say, there will be no plagues, nobody will be dying, nothing bad happening for this community. And the bargain was struck originally by witches with the devil. Now it seems like the bargain is brittle, or it's damaged in a way, because there is some kind of plague coming and people are getting sick, and you can imagine that once the part that actually was involving the village is changing, then people would realize something is happening there. The part of the bargain, what they have to do for the devil, is that there's always a boy who has to run into the forest every 7 years, and if he survives, fine. If not, and that's usually the case, the devil will get him, and he's, so to say, the blood sacrifice, even if people don't talk about it like this. So we are following Merwin, who is a young witch, and her two friends, Rune and Arthur, who are boys of the community and potential runners for the next run, because the bargain is brittling and something must be done. I don't want to say any more about this, because this is like a phenomenal book which lives and thrives with every revelation that you get. But it's also a very quiet book in a way. You do have action, but it's more about the people in this village, and about gender politics. It's about what women can do and are expected to do also as witches, because of course you can do more if you're a witch, and also how you should be as a boy. What's the best boy? Because the best boy is the one who will be running. What does that mean, right? And also Arthur has some issues, including, we would say, gender. And it's the atmosphere in this book. Like with the Queens of Innisleer, I love the darkness, I love the gothic, I love all of the folklore and legend and tales in there, and it's just like, it's so magical and enchanting, but it's dark, and I really loved it. This was also the Buddyread from me and Claudia of Knits for the Soul, so there will be another video up soon where we talk about it. Still, we are trying to avoid spoilers, I guess, but we talk about the overall themes that are present in this book, because they are so good. I don't want to say any more about this except of how beautiful is this cover. It's like awesome, right? And the colors are beautiful. It's really, really showing. Actually, it's very connected to the story. I don't want to say in which way, but it is connected. And 5 out of 5 stars. I love this. I have already a feeling that this will be on the top books of 2021, and I really want people to pick this up. I don't know where Tessa Gratton was all my life. This is like, wow, I have read the Queens of Innisleer, I have read this, and I still have Lady Hotspur on my shelf, which I will be probably reading either this year or the beginning of next year. I'm so excited. It's so good. And read it. That's my thing. Read it. And the last book that I read in June, and a book that I have been waiting to read for so long, I bought it last year in December for Christmas. It is Camelot by Giles Christian. Now, this is the companion novel to Lancelot, which I read last year, and it was also part of the best top 5 books that I read in 2020. And it's, as you can imagine from the title, this is connected to the Arthurian legends, because that's the story that Giles Christian is starting in Lancelot, where we of course have the story of Lancelot, the most famous knight of the King Arthur tales, the one who betrayed his best friend Arthur with his wife Guinevere. And here in this book we are following his son Galahad, and I really must say it looks like that Giles Christian is becoming one of my favorite authors. I am so stoked. I want to read more of his books. This is historical fiction, but it reads so real. Although you have all of the legends, we don't know what's true about King Arthur. Nobody knows it, but there are so many adaptations of it, so many books or versions of it. And I have another book that I will be reading this year, The Mists of Avalon, to have a look into the story as well, because it's my favorite thing, the King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And here you really have like the overall theme here is of fathers and sons, parents and their children, the past and the future. And I really love that we have the old knights that, so to say, we follow up a long time ago after the last fight that we had in that ended with Lancelot and Arthur dead, and the knights have been searching for Lancelot's son. I don't want to say more about this because it would spoil just the journey if you really want to pick this up. Giles Christian wove so many legends, so many stories that we know about, you know, Celtic folklore, and also with the Arthurian tales, everything in there. I read the afterword from him as well after I finished the book, and it was like I didn't even realize how many things there were in there that I didn't recognize when I was reading them. I thought like, wow, this is great. But it was not really his own creation, right? It was his version of the tales that we know, which he wove into the pattern of this book. I love this book. It's so good. I love the way he writes. It's not flowery is not the word for it, but it's beautiful and comforting. You have all of these war situations, right? And the whole thing, you think like, it's so nice. The way he writes it, it's so nice. I really love it. I cannot wait for the third book to come out, because when I asked him on Instagram, he said there will be a third book of this in the future. I'm quite sure that he hasn't written it yet. I can't wait for having this. I love this cover. It's so great. It's also like signed. It's a signed edition. Yeah, it's like I will be reading other stuff from Giles Christian very soon because I think he deserves it, and I think that loads of people should be reading this. Loads of people should be picking up this, and this is why I will probably praise it the whole time and push it in the recommendations videos that I wanted to do. Yeah, this is 5 out of 5 stars. There is nothing that I can pick on here. I don't think it's anywhere slow or not interesting or whatever. If you like historical fiction, if you like legends, if you like the Arthurian tales, if you like Britain and I don't know, swords and sorcery, although it's not that much including magic, you will love it. You will love it. Hopefully as much as I did. So probably, although I loved Strange Grace, but this is maybe my favorite pick of the month, and also this one will be very high up in the end of the year when I am looking back on what I have been reading. But it was a beautiful journey, and I'm happy that Giles Christian wrote it. So guys, these were the books that I have been reading in June. What have you been reading in June? Tell me if there is anything that I should know about, or what did you like about my books? What do you say? Is there anything that you want to read in the future? I hope you will pick up one of these books because they were all great. And yeah, I wish you a good rest of the day, and see you guys soon.